We all remember when Nancy Pelosi was fired. It was about a year ago now. And in January, Kevin McCarthy took the gavel after a really contentious 15 consecutive rounds of voting. I even saw two Republicans nearly come to blows on the floor over it. It's weird. I never saw him fight this much over the left's communist policies, but whatevs. I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this point. But if you recall, the speaker fight was a huge win for conservatives as they were given powerful committee positions, including the Rules Committee. A lot of other hardline concessions were made by McCarthy, too. All inside baseball, but here's why this is important outside the swamp to you and I. One of the biggest problems we are seeing right now is this geriatric ruling class. One of the promises McCarthy made was a vote on term limits. Not some symbolic vote. One of the concessions was to actually hold a serious vote on this. Our legislature would be a lot different and a lot less swampy if we could pass this. It would serve you and I. Wouldn't serve D.C., but it'd be great for us. No surprise, this hasn't happened yet. But this was tried back in the 90s, and it got a 53% vote on the House floor. But because they were doing it for a constitutional amendment, it required a 2/3 to become law, and it didn't. But 37 states have some variation of term limits for state offices. That's the majority of the country. But the states were blocked by the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision from imposing term limits on their federal representatives back in 1995. But now, with the debt ceiling battle looming yet again, for a bunch of budgets are up for votes and a showdown for a government shutdown, instead of honoring a lot of those deals, Kevin McCarthy is now holding this impeachment inquiry in lieu of spending cuts to avoid a potential shutdown. My question is, why can't we have both? Representative Matt Gaetz, though, is entertaining the idea of actually vacating the speakership if McCarthy doesn't force a vote on the impeachment of President Biden. Think about that. I would say, again, my question is, why does everything have to end with legislatures getting what they want and me paying more in taxes? That's how I feel outside of the Beltway. The budget is separate from impeachment, and conflating the two is exactly what Republicans said they wouldn't do. I mean, cut the budget like you and, 221 other Republicans promised on the campaign trail. Don't give me the, oh, it's so complicated talk. It's not. Just spend less money. If you recall, Speaker McCarthy agreed to raise the debt ceiling in exchange for spending caps at the 2022 levels. Woo! Oh, great. That's the most money ever spent to date, and more than the year before that, and the year before that, and like the 200-plus years before that. So, no, I don't think that's a win. Were your taxes lowered? No, mine sure weren't. In fact, when they printed more money to raise the debt ceiling, they made your bank account worth even less. Do I need to spell it out in crayon for Congress? I said it then, but do you know what he would have been doing if we had not raised the debt ceiling, by the way? It would have meant that we are in an indefinite balanced budget. And yes, still would have been able to pay our debt because we still took in over $5 trillion in tax revenue. And the Constitution would have forced us to prioritize our debts over the other worthless junk they spend money on now. But we raised it a cool $1.5 trillion anyway. But one of the most pressing issues now, which is even more important, is this new budget in fixing the border, adding border security. The entire Freedom Caucus, which is enough people to not pass something, an entire Freedom Caucus has refused to vote for anything for any budget that does not include significant steps to secure the border. Now, this affects all of us, and this is huge leverage. If McCarthy wants to pass anything, he needs to include this. And not what he thinks Biden will go for or my Democrats sign off on. McCarthy needs to pass something that will actually fix the problem. Maybe a wall, I don't know, something substantial. Force Biden to veto it. And if he shuts down the government, it's on him. Most people would happily see the government shut down if it meant stopping fentanyl plowing through our southern border. I'm just saying. Look, my point is that Congress doesn't really do much. That's why their approval rating is less than 20% for many years now. The disapproval rating is over 70%, sometimes touching the 80s. Because every 2 years, Republicans and quite frankly, Democrats too, they run around their districts on any channel that'll take them, screaming about how they're going to hold firm and blah, blah, blah. Just do it. I'm tired of both parties promising me stuff, and it always gets compromised away. And the only thing that gets better is the life of those in Washington. I'm saying this for anyone who will listen. Tell your representatives to make your life better. not the government's life or their lobbyist or whatever else. Take tough stances. Maybe break up some friendships. I don't know. Stand on not only the principles of the party that you're elected to be, but also what you promised to do when you got in office that we voted for. Don't give me the, oh, that's not how government works. Actually, it is, or at least maybe it's how it should work. Maybe it's those who think they know everything that actually don't know anything at all. I really don't care about any reasoning or explanations or whatever else. I want the people making $174,000 a year, that is confiscated from our paychecks, by the way, to do something good for us. And you have to shut down the government to get it done? Fine. As far as I'm concerned, you can leave it shut down forever. Because I'm honestly fed up with being promised things that never come true.